So in other words, Nuclear Man is attempting to create a nuclear holocaust, with only him and Lacey surviving. Back at Lex's lair, Lex and Lenny attempt to leave, when Superman, now fully healed, arrives. Superman asks for Lacey's help to stop Nuclear Man, and she agrees. While the Nuclear Man missile is flying over the Atlantic Ocean, just as the Pentagon and Kremlin are about to fire missiles, Nuclear Man sees Superman and Lacey flying. Superman drops Lacey over the Atlantic Ocean as a distraction. Nuclear Man is now no longer a missile, so America and Russia abort their retaliation missiles. Nuclear Man instantly flies to retrieve Lacey, but Superman gets there first and flies her back to Metropolis. Nuclear Man follows. Nuclear Man then arrives on the streets of Metropolis. He sees Superman where he demands, "Where is the woman?" As we all know, this scene was in the theatrical cut, but the previous scene was not, making it confusing when Nuclear Man asks, "Where is the woman?" Yeah, we kind of really needed that previous scene. Nuclear Man continues his assault on the city, which is actually a lot more brutal in the script, where with his evil powers he raises some cop cars and makes them drive up the side of a building and then drop them, to which Superman then has to catch them. Superman then agrees to take Nuclear Man to Lacey. Superman takes an elevator which arrives at Lex's lair. Nuclear Man follows by crashing through the floor. Superman then tricks him into going into the elevator, which is empty. Superman pushes him in there and seals the door, which takes away Nuclear Man's powers. Superman takes the elevator out of the building and flies it to the moon and dumps it there. But the sun shines through a crack of the elevator doors, which gives Nuclear Man his power again. This then leads to Superman and Nuclear Man having their brawl on the moon. Nuclear Man buries Superman and flies back to Earth to find Lacey in Lex's lair. He tells her that she will be his queen. Nuclear Man then flies Lacey into outer space, who miraculously isn't burnt alive from leaving the Earth's atmosphere and can somehow breathe in space. Superman gets himself out of the ground of the moon and pushes the moon's surface to block the sun, taking away Nuclear Man's powers. Superman takes Lacey back to Earth and then takes Nuclear Man's lifeless body to a power plant and drop his body into a cooling tower, with Nuclear Man being absorbed by all the radiation, which gives Metropolis a power surge. Now this scene actually generates a fair bit of flack from fans, who see it as improbable, with Lacey being able to breathe in space. However, the comic book adaptation actually kind of rights this issue, where when Nuclear Man goes to kidnap Lacey again, he doesn't find her at Lex's lair, but Lacey is actually in what looks like a cabin in the woods. And it's while in the woods, Superman blocks out the sun with the moon. So in this comic book version, Nuclear Man and Lacey don't go into space, where Superman then arrives and takes Nuclear Man away to the power station where Nuclear Man is dissolved, and Superman says, "Ashes to ashes, atoms to atoms." Lex and Lenny try to flee, but are ultimately caught by the Dude of Steel. Superman takes Lex back to jail and Lenny to a boys' home. Back at the Daily Planet, Mr. White resumes control over the newspaper. Clark and Lacey are in the back of a cab. Lacey tells Clark that she now wants a quiet life, further saying that she wished that he met her as the person she is now, not the spoilt brat she was when they first met, where the two share a kiss. So it's nice to see that Lacey has a story arc, and the script plays out that Clark actually did really like Lacey, unlike the final film, which plays out more like Clark isn't really interested, but just going along with her advances for, if anything, because he doesn't know how to respond to them. Clark and Lacey part ways. Superman does his press conference where he tells the people that world peace isn't his to give, but the people of Earth will get world peace one day, and that he wishes the people of Earth can see the world as he sees it, as it is just one world. Now this is where the scene ends in the theatrical cut. But in the script, and with some filmed scenes, Superman goes back to Jeremy's school and collects Jeremy where they fly off into space. Superman tells Jeremy to tell the people of Earth what he sees, where Jeremy also notices that the Earth is just one world. I guess this whole just one world thing was the theme to end the movie with. Yeah, it is a little corny. The movie was better for ending it with Superman's speech at the conference. And once again, how is Jeremy able to breathe in space? So, Superman and Jeremy fly home, the end. So that's Superman 4, as it was presented in the original script. And wow, it feels like we lost half the movie. I think some of these scenes were definitely required to even make sense of the story, such as Superman telling Jeremy that he can't interfere with the missile negotiations, and Nuclear Man kidnapping Lacey the first time. I also really like the subplot of Lex getting into the arms deals, and Nuclear Man turning himself in a missile in order to cause a nuclear apocalypse. It definitely feels more epic and adds more to the stakes other than Nuclear Man and Superman have a bit of a rumble. The script also carries on with the themes of the nuclear arms race, whereas in the theatrical movie, I always felt that subplot kind of disappears when Nuclear Man shows up. And I do think the story is better and grander with these scenes. However, as interesting as I find the character of the first Nuclear Man to be, that is one subplot that I don't mind being removed. It drags the story and takes too much time to get on with the main plot. And essentially, the first time we see Nuclear Man, he fails miserably. Nah, it's better to introduce the second Nuclear Man as the only Nuclear Man, not the remains of a bumbling idiot. That, and I think the first Nuclear Man was meant to be a funny, wacky, comical character, and I just didn't really find him all that funny. As for Superman 4 in general, well, call me crazy, but I actually do really like this movie. I think it has a lot of heart, and I love the way Christopher Reeve plays the character. You can tell that at this stage, he knows his Superman character inside and out, and it feels like this time he brings a sense of nobility to the part. I also feel like his speech about world peace being achieved one day has aged really well and is probably more powerful and more meaningful now than it was back in 1987. I feel like now more than ever, we need Superman to assure us that one day things will be okay. I don't think Superman 4 is a terrible film. I argue that it could have been a great movie, if only it was produced by a competent studio. If only it didn't have its budget slashed. If only it didn't have half the movie cut out. Who knows? Had things turned out differently, with a studio who believed in Superman as much as Reeve believed in him, then maybe Superman 4 could have been one of the best. But instead, I don't see it as bad, I just see it as a tragic movie, for its letdowns that could have been. But regardless, I will still watch Superman 4 and have no shame in admitting that despite everything the movie has going against it, it still makes me smile and fills my heart with joy. Even though in later years, Superman 4 would be considered one of the worst superhero movies of all time, that despite everything the movie has going against it, it still makes me smile and fills my heart with joy. Even though in later years, Superman 4 would be considered one of the worst superhero movies of all time, I think in recent years we have gotten a lot of superhero movies that are way worse, some of which even get praised.
If you want to send some stuff to me so I can check out what you have sent, please send it to this exact address. However, you may only send some stuff that I am interested in. No airplane, okay? Because if you send something like this, I will make sure that I will tell you that I do not like this film at all. So make sure you send stuff like this, or this, or this, or this. And yes, even Airplane 2 the sequel. Oh, and get this, a special collector's edition of Twister, complete with a steelbook that features not only the secondary poster artwork, but the image of the pipe scene on the back. Heck yeah, I'm getting this. Well, actually, we do have the double feature set, which consists of Twister and Twister, so we're pretty dang close. And also Airplane 2 the sequel, which had this cover. Just look at those nuts! I can't keep up with them all! And even the one in the original theatrical poster! Like, look at it! And just look at this poster for the worst film of all time! I mean, come on, do they really need to tie that plane up into another? I mean, that part never actually happened in the film! I mean, they clearly just used a toy model plane! Like, come on, really? And yes, this is what the plane actually looks like in the film. And here's another image of that same goddamn plane model, also from the film. God damn it, I hate this film. And its different titles, like this one known as Flying High, but I will refer to the film with this title. I just hated it so much. So make sure you send in to this address, and I hope to God I will look at them. And in the words of the good old immortal named Connor McLeod,
There can be only one